I won't make it easy for you now.
What's up, everybody? Noah Ohlsen here. Welcome to another episode of ROMWOD and Chill. This week we're going to be talking about competition prep for Wodapalooza. I hope to see you there, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
All right. So what's coming up next week?
Next week is the Wodapalooza down here in Miami. It's going to be my 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, my 8th year competing.
How are we feeling about it?
I actually feel really good. Knock on wood. My body's really healthy right now and training's been going well, so hopefully I can pull off a victory. It will be my 4th time winning Wodapalooza, and this year would be the first year ever that it would secure me a spot at the CrossFit Games.
Does the fact that this year is for the games make you nervous at all?
There's definitely a little bit of an added layer of, I don't want to say pressure is not the right word, but there's just more of a prize. So there's more on the line than there has been in the past, which, I don't know, if anything, hopefully just drives me to perform even better.
How has your training been influenced by this the past couple of months?
I would say that I usually always would try to set up my training to where I'm going to peak at Wodapalooza just to perform well. But this year, it's, like I was just saying, even a little bit more important because of the fact that you can get a games qualification spot. So I think we really designed training to make sure that I'm firing on all cylinders, kind of the way we would for regionals in the past, which is where I would have qualified for the games. Now we kind of set training up so that I can perform the best possible at Wodapalooza.
Tell us more about peaking. Like how long does it take to get to a peak? How many peaks? Duration between peaks?
So usually in the traditional season, we would have designed my training so that I could hit little mini peaks for competitions like Wodapalooza kind of right at the beginning of the year. And then kind of similarly design it for the Open to where I feel good for the Open, but I'm still able to train through it a little bit, where the focus is kind of more on regionals and the games and less on being ready to perform at my best during the Open. And then at regionals is when we would try to design a little training peak for that so that I can make sure I qualify for the games, take some time off, and then the big peak we hope comes right before the CrossFit Games. So this year, it's a little bit different. The first peak of the season hopefully comes during Wodapalooza, and then I'll have some time to kind of rest and recover, and then the next time I would really technically need to peak would be for the game. So it's way more time now to, I don't know, I mean, you can either use all that extra time to take more time off and really let your body heal, do some cool projects and media stuff, or I don't think anybody's gonna grind all the way from January to May or August, but I think if you have a coach that designs your program well for you, then this season having that much more time to prepare can just be more beneficial the earlier you qualify.
How do you, going into a competition like this with the timing, how do you work on staying present into the competition and not getting distracted by the potential of all this time off?
I mean, if anything, performing well in the competition is going to allow me the gift of that time off and the opportunity to have a season that's more designed to perform well at the game. So it's kind of motivating for me to try to earn that for myself. And I think that the better I perform and the more I can stay focused on performing well, the bigger the reward will be this year than ever before.
So what are some things you do besides training to specifically help you prepare for a competition weekend?
Yeah, well, it's one thing that's a little obvious. Definitely stay up on my ROMWOD, make sure that my body feels really good and healthy. I think that no matter how you do it, keeping your body healthy is important, because little nicks and pains and kinks and stuff here and there can really throw you off. I've had to go into competitions before with minor injuries like a strained pec at regionals and a kinked neck before the team series, and I think just staying healthy is probably the biggest confidence booster that you can have going into a competition, to not have anything to worry about. So again, knock on wood, hopefully my body stays good and healthy to bring me through the weekend. Definitely dialing in my nutrition. I actually just started working with The Method, who's an Australian-based nutrition company. So their coach, Kate, has been helping me get my macros on point and make sure I'm really optimally fueled for the weekend. Sleep is really important, so setting a bedtime for myself of 10 o'clock every night and trying to really stick to that has been helpful. It was a tough transition for that because all the holidays just passed, Christmas and New Year and all that fun stuff, so those were some late nights, but getting that back on track I think has been helpful. So sleeping, eating, stretching, those have all been kind of the classic things that I do outside of training to keep my body healthy.
What are some specific things that you changed with your nutrition leading up to a competition? Like your macros changed, the amount of calories or anything?
So since working with The Method, I kind of realized that my carb count was down even a little bit lower than I needed, and I thought I had bumped it up to what was appropriate for me, to about 450 grams of carbs, and I now realize that I can handle and perform a little bit better with about 500 to 550 grams of carbs. So just really making sure that I have all of that in me to stay fueled and to help me recover. I think that will be important going into the weekend so that I don't hit like highs and lows. Competitions are interesting because it's usually the same, if not less volume than we do in training, but the intensity level is just so high that your body has to adapt to that stress of like really ramping up for a workout and then coming back down and having that rest period and ramping back up for another workout. So I think fueling helps you to kind of stay a little bit more consistent and not have those super highs and lows throughout the weekend.
So how does your fueling look like throughout a competition weekend? And like an example day where you have like 3 events.
It's tough with a competition because you have multiple events in a day, where if I have one workout at 10 a.m. and then another one at 2, that only gives me a couple hours in between, and I don't necessarily want to eat a full meal and have that sit in my stomach for that second workout. So I will usually try to get as big a breakfast as possible, like a big bowl of oats with some fruit, a little bit of protein, not too much fat, bagel if I can, little applesauce squeeze packs, those are awesome. And if I can like really overload my fueling in the morning, that allows me to have an easier time with staying fueled throughout the day. And then in between workouts, I can just do like a carb or protein shake, which is a little lighter, more of those applesauce squeeze pouches. I feel like I can't talk about those without doing this squeeze pouch. And just kind of keep it light throughout the day, and then at the end of the day in the evening to just do the same thing as in the morning, kind of overload, have a big dinner, let that kind of process and refuel you throughout the night so you're good to go for the next day. So big meals to kind of bookend the day, and then lighter stuff throughout the competition.
And then what kind of recovery practices do you do during the weekend?
Yeah, I definitely step up my recovery game during a competition. So I'll break out the Mark Pro and any other little recovery tools that I have. I'll be rubbing the Pure Spectrum CBD oil on whatever muscles or joints are sore at all. And Joanne, my girlfriend, is in PT school now, and she's learning stuff. So I think the next few competitions, she might be able to assist me with any tension or funky spots that I've got going on. So that'll be an added tool that I haven't had in the past. I'm trying to think of what else I usually do. Just really try to get a good night's sleep.
What advice would you give yourself the first year that Noah went to Wodapalooza?
First year that I went to Wodapalooza, I was so taken back by everything, just kind of stunned by the lights and all the studs that I was competing with, and wanting to really walk around and soak it all up. And I was very distracted by everything. And I think now I kind of have a routine down for competition weekend. I know when I need to be dialed in. I know when I do have time to cruise around and say hi to my sponsors and to talk to fans and friends and stuff like that. And when I need to kind of go back and start warming up and get recovered. It doesn't always work out perfectly like that. Like sometimes I still will have to rush to get to the warm-up area when I didn't necessarily plan perfectly for that. But I think for the most part now I've got my schedule for the competition day structured a little bit better. What are we switching into? I'm getting sunburned for sure, by the way.
That's good for the recovery. Let's see, what else?
Max, you like the view back there? Perv.
What type of events are you hoping to see?
The only two events that they've announced so far I actually like a lot. They announced a chipper that has a bunch of gymnastics and kind of light to moderate weight barbell, which if I were designing a workout, I would probably structure something pretty similar to that myself. And then the second workout they've announced is a handstand walk with the ramp and some heavy snatches, and I love both of those movements. So far so good. Hopefully they keep rolling out in my favor, and if not, then hopefully I've worked enough on whatever it is that they announced that I don't fall too far behind on any of those.
All right, last question. What is it about Wodapalooza that you like more than other competitions?
Wodapalooza is really special. I have a pretty tight relationship with it, and I feel like I've kind of gotten to witness it grow from the very, very beginning. I remember actually sitting at Peak years ago, it must have been 8 or 9 years ago, and hearing Guido and Steve try to brainstorm names for a competition, and I think I suggested the Thanksgiving Throwdown because they were talking about doing it in November. They didn't end up going with that one, and I'm glad. But to see it go from that to this little local thing into this kind of global phenomenon within the CrossFit world is really cool, and to have been a part of it every year since then is pretty special. So I'll probably keep that rolling, keep Wodapalooza in my CrossFit DNA for as long as I can, and hope that it continues to be as fun and that I continue to be as successful as I have been able to in the past. And I think one thing that kind of sets it apart is just the environment. Like, everybody's there to just have fun. It is a celebration of fitness and community and friendship, and getting to interact with a bunch of people from all over the world is really cool. I've met a ton of people through Wodapalooza that I wouldn't have otherwise. So yeah, just more of that.
Cool. Any final thoughts? Anything to say to people going to Wodapalooza?
Yeah. If you guys are going to Wodapalooza, I'll see you there. I'll probably be hanging out at the ROMWOD booth, and please feel free to come up to me and chat for a bit and take a photo, whatever it is that you want. Wish me luck, and I hope to make you proud. Try to pull off a 4-peat.